Hold on, I'm building shaders. All right, 100 out of 15,321. 300. Okay, welcome back to Squelch, the video game book club. I'm Dano.
I'm Mad at Arms, and I'm reticulating splines.
I really wanted you to be Mass Effect at Arms this week. And I'm Storm Rage. And we're here to remind you that Mass Effect Andromeda is a game and that games are supposed to be fun.
I almost was. I should have just rolled with it.
You should have
Next
definitely
week. We'll
leaned
remember
into
it for
the bit
next
there. Mass Effect at Arms. I feel like this might be the first week in a lot of weeks where games are supposed to be fun might be appropriate for how a lot of people feel about this game. I'm not saying that's how I feel about this game, but I feel the overarching zeitgeist around Mass Effect Andromeda is it is a bad game, which I am excited to talk about. I know Storm Rage is excited to talk about, and I presume Matt is as well. Mass Effect at Arms is as well.
I'm here, aren't I? I mean, unlike in 2 weeks, but hey.
Hey, happy Xmas Effect to all who celebrate. It is that most wonderful time of the year where Squelch plays a Mass Effect game. I'm really hoping that a new Mass Effect game comes out next year. Otherwise, I guess we're playing Mass Effect 1 again. So,
yes. We're doing it. We're doing it.
Could be worse, but
I mean, we've only been teased a new Mass Effect game for the last 8 years or whatever it is. So surely this year will be the year.
Yes.
I mean, how long does it take to make a video game, really? Honestly, it shouldn't take that much time, right?
I mean,
like
how
at least
long have
2
we
months.
waited for Elder Scrolls at this point?
Yeah.
Fair.
I mean, Dean's going to be married with children before the next one comes out. So this week we are playing the intro to Mass Effect Andromeda up to landing on the first planet of Eos. Next week we're going to play all of Eos that you can get to at radiation level 1. There is radiation level 3. The game does not tell you anything about these radiation levels, but you cannot go out past radiation level 1. Your armor and your Mako 2 cannot handle that. Nothing you do to upgrade your armor or the Mako 2 will let you get into radiation level 3. There is a Mako 2 armor that you can get that's this is really good. This isn't for combat. This is for environmental stuff. Nope, not for radiation levels though. So I'm not sure what it's for, but it's not for radiation levels.
It is for environmental and radiation stuff, but it doesn't increase the amount of radiation that you can expose yourself to. It just reduces the time that it takes away at your life support. So you can basically be on life support for a longer period of time with the new Mako.
The Mako 2, Electric Boogaloo.
The Mako 2, the Electric Boogaloo.
The much improved Mako, honestly.
Well, it was a low bar. I feel like it's still very Mako adjacent. They just gave you a boost power and a secondary boost power. So all of Eos at radiation level 1. Clear the vault. You'll know what that is when you get there. Establish the outpost and then head back to the Nexus. That is next week. Let's go ahead and head off to thank some patrons.
Thanks. I am pretty incredible.
Thank.
I remembered. Thank you so much, patrons and Twitch subs. Your support keeps this podcast going. If you want to support the show, head over to twitch.tv/Dano. Play the O is a 0 because I'm cool. Or patreon.com/Squelch. $5 above page to get the podcast, and that is recorded. And then, so thank you all so much for your support.
Where's the Pathfinder?
You're looking at her.
You're not Alec Ryder.
Thanks, Camille Nanjiani.
Man, what a grab, Dano. You never miss on the recap intros. Absolutely incredible. So, one thing that I want to touch on is not something within the game, but the idea that this is a bad game, which I think, Dano, you alluded to earlier, is in the cultural zeitgeist. So I want to talk a little bit more about the history of the reception of the game, what actually went wrong, where there are legitimate criticisms without getting into spoiler territory, and where there were a lot of criticisms that were overblown for pretty terrible reasons. So one of the reasons that I wanted to play this game and that I do like this game is because I actually wrote my master's paper about corporate communication and how they should respond to sexist attacks within the video game industry. And I actually used this game for a significant portion of my analysis because Mass Effect, the BioWare team handled this super poorly. There are obviously a ton of people that were just terrible monsters during this. So I'll get into the brief history of that. But before I do, what are your guys' initial reactions? We've played, Matt, I'm guessing you played probably about 2 to 3 hours. Is probably about how much it takes to get through the first material. Dano, I'm guessing you played for probably about 20 to 30 hours because whenever we have an amount of time that you play, you add a 0 to the end of that to make sure that you get through as much as you can.
Because I'm cool.
Yeah, because the O is a 0.
I'm glad you picked it up because I was going to pick it up.
It's accurate. It's an accurate number. I'm at 24. About.
Yeah.
Matt, I'd love to hear what you have to say first.
Yeah, it's honestly like the game feels like just right out of the box. The game feels great. Like the story's kind of interesting. It's very like the first planet's amazing. You know, just like, and I honestly had no idea I had no idea about this game at all. I knew it came out. I knew it had like a bad review or two, and then it kind of disappeared. I didn't know there was a whole reaction to it, but like honestly, the characters I've met seem interesting, seem cool. Yeah, the gameplay seemed great. Like there's some weird glitchy stuff I've had happen a couple times with like especially necks and like when heads move weird. But like other than that, it's been fine. So I've been enjoying it a lot so far.
Yeah, I would say my initial reaction was, holy buckets, this is a really cool game with a really, really interesting story. That was like my first, 2 hours into the game. I was like, wow, this is just great. I thought it would be terrible because we're not plant robots, and we were all plant robots at the end of the last game. And so how do we not be plant robots? I thought they did a really good job of moving forward with a universe that has ended, right? So the Milky Way galaxy is done and dusted. Like they're in a plant robot utopia. Like I don't know what story you tell there unless you rewrite the ending, right? And so I thought it was a really clever way to do that, which was, hey, remember when we found that cool stuff on Mars? We used that cool stuff on Mars to get to the Andromeda galaxy, and we are now 600 years in the future. Mm-hmm. And this was all before all of the Reaper shenanigans. So they are unaware of any of that nonsense. And I thought it was super cool and clever. I really enjoyed the initial hook of the story. I honestly don't really get it. I think the more I've played, and the thing is, I looked at Steam, and it was Steam achievements for did you get to the first planet, or you can always kind of tell how people enjoy the initial game by just how many people finish the very first thing, right? And it's something like a good chunk of people fell off this game very, very early. And then, so where I'm at now, it seems like all the little okay, you got to your first planet, you got something, it's all about 49%. So about half the people, it's like a quarter of the people fell off at the very beginning, and then another quarter fell off pretty quickly thereafter, and then it seems like about 50% have played through the game. Which kind of surprised me because I feel like all of the good stuff is there at the very beginning. Like that first planet is really cool. It's a little confusing because you can path 2 different ways. and you can feel like you did it wrong if you path to the right instead of the path to the left at the first quest, and we'll talk about that.
Yep.
And then, but like once you get into all that and like the initial story of Ryder, pretty cool and interesting. Getting to the Nexus, pretty cool and interesting. The first planet Eos, and like it's pretty cool and interesting. I've got to the point now where I'm gotten to the side questing, and here is where like where I'm a bit sad about the game, is it seems like they never really got past Dragon Age Origins level of side questing. As they have really interesting stories to tell in their side quests. I just finished, I'm 4/5 done with a side quest about a man who left the Milky Way, and we're placing these MacGuffins on the planet because he died in one of the first waves. And with each MacGuffin that's planted, we get a little bit of a recording from his daughter. And we learn through the recordings that his daughter stayed at the Milky Way and that she was sick and seems terminal. And it was a really interesting story, but like you're just driving around the Mako 2 and placing down MacGuffins. And so it's like the story part is cool, but like the rest of it, I'm like, I'm just driving around the Mako and dropping MacGuffins on the ground. I'm not even fighting anything. Like, doesn't even fight. You just drop MacGuffins on the ground. And so that I think has been the part that I've been most disappointed in, is it seems like the story is cool. The characters aren't as good as Mass Effect. They're Mass Effect 1.5 kind of, it seems like. But they're still good so far.
Yeah.
And the story seems fascinating. I love how they got out of the Milky Way because we were all plant robots. How do you get past plant robots, right? So, yeah, I was a little surprised at how poorly it was received, to be honest.
Yeah. So let's talk about that initial reception. So Mass Effect Andromeda was a massively hyped game, and one of the more like expected positive releases from BioWare after the end of Mass Effect 3. And the initial reactions ranged pretty broadly from various different issues. I think the biggest critique that both is fair and was overblown was technical limitations. There were and still are quite a few bugs throughout the game. I know Dano's run into a bug already. There are also some bugs with regards to like some facial animations don't quite hit right. There's some moments, like there's some character clipping, things that you would expect that you wouldn't expect on a release day, but nowadays you kind of do, and you just expect that they get patched out a few months later, right? Well, that never happened, in large part because the initial release was so poorly received that they canceled all patches and all content after patch 1.1. It was insane how quickly they just bailed on this game. So, were there technical issues and technical bugs? Yeah, absolutely. There were, and there still are in the game, which can be absolutely very frustrating. One of the biggest issues that was criticized was the animations in the game. The facial animations, I think, general, are probably not as good as in Mass Effect 3. Some of them are, in particular, have like some very weird like choices or stark issues, and the lip syncing doesn't quite line up. Another hypothetically fair criticism, but it was actually taken over by Gamergate, that same movement that was like women don't belong in video games. The reason
they do
why,
under very specific circumstances.
Yes, correct. As long as they are to be looked at and not, told good stories or involved in the creative process.
Yeah, there you go.
What a cool bunch of folks.
Yes, very neat. Love it.
And so they found out a specific BioWare employee who was relatively attractive, and they were like, oh, she did all the animations. She doesn't have a history of using animations. She got the job because she was sleeping with the boss, and it spread like wildfire. What's interesting about it is that literally none of that is true, other than she was the developer. She is a developer on Mass Effect Andromeda, and she had a full work history of working within the industry. This was not her first job, and she didn't work on the animations team. And so there were a lot of different things. The actual behind the scenes of this game was really fraught with issues. especially on the animation side, because they ended up outsourcing basically all of their animations to a different studio. And the first studio had a ton of issues, so then they outsourced it to a different studio and a ton of issues. So another one of those things that I think is fair to criticize, but I also think is a little bit overblown. I think in most of the cases, the animations are not terrible. Then finally are the issues that I think are straight up dumb, that have not aged well at all. One, there are very few straight white men presented in this game, and people were really, really upset at the lack of straight white men, and that they were basically wanting to cancel culture all white guys, which is obviously insane for a billion different reasons, but that was a significant aspect of like the vitriol for this game, is if you choose to make your writer a person of color, there aren't a ton of white presenting individuals. I didn't even notice it until we started talking about it again, and I was like, oh yeah, people did complain about it. Because apparently in a world of aliens, you can have aliens, but you can't have non-white people. What a fun world we live in.
Because I was the one who brought it up, because I was like, I'm really enjoying this game. Is the reason that everyone is mad because there's not a white guy? And you're like, yeah, that was kind of it. And I was like, oh, that checks out. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Because like you have aliens. And so,
yep.
And
Yeah,
so
and
what are you going to do? Like and the main character can be a white guy if you want it to be. Like, it's not hard. Just choose the male writer character, and there, boom, you got it. It's not even hard to do. It's just,
it's crazy.
Snowflakes.
It's simply crazy. And then lastly, I think is one issue of expectations. People wanted another Mass Effect game of a cover shooter that had this grand fantasy about saving the universe, right? Like, that was the core of the Mass Effect franchise. And this game isn't that. Your job is not to save the universe. Your job, and this is just very broadly, we'll get to the story here in just a second, is exploration. Your job is making planets safe. Your job is reducing threats, and sometimes that involves killing these bad aliens, but a lot of time it just means getting supplies for people. A lot of times it means just like understanding people, talking to people, getting trade routes, and all of those things I enjoy a lot. But if you're coming from Mass Effect 3, which is very much I'm going to solve every issue with a gun, well, it's certainly not that. And also the combat, I think most people expected another similar cover shooter, but it's not that either. This is a much more action-heavy, fast-paced combat that I think, to its credit, most people agreed is an improvement on the series, and a lot of people have had a lot of fun with it. I think this is the most exciting combat that we have had to date, but it's also a lot, and it's very different than the Mass Effect franchise. So they took a lot of swings, and overall, I think that they took so many swings that a lot of people were really frustrated. I think by the end, I think the story's great, and we'll get to the kind of some weak points. I don't think it's a perfect game, but it's a really, really fun game, and I'm really excited that we get to play it.
Yeah, same. I do love that they made Mass Effect Andromeda, and then 30 years later made Dragon Age Veilguard, and they did the exact same thing. They were like, we put 30 years into this game. The minute it gets a little hard, we're just going to like throw all our work under the bus. We're not going to try and defend it. We're not going to try to, fix any bugs that happened. And we're just going to pretend it never, ever happened. Like, man, I don't know if it's EA or if it's BioWare, but one of them needs to grow a spine. Like, imagine if Cyberpunk just was like, everything is goofy and screwed up, but we better not ever try. It's like, they're just it's a spineless company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this game would have improved with maybe I think some DLC missions that expand some of the fringes would have been cool. Would have been super cool. But
we also talk about that. There were a lot of patches and there's a lot of content planned. This game will end on a cliffhanger that is never resolved.
Cool.
There is also very specific reference. They early on will deal with the major races of the game, which will be the Turians, the Asari, the humans. There's a new alien race, the Krogan, and the Solarians. Is also a DLC planned to bring on the Quarians, the Hanar, the Elcor, all the other races, and they go, yes, all of them are on a new arc that is on the way.
Yeah.
It was never on the way, which is a real bummer. And there was also a Mass Effect 2 plan that didn't end up happening, and it's like, oh, what a bummer. So there's a lot of very cool things that were planned that just you'll never see.
Yeah, imagine if they had just like been like, this is a good game, we're standing behind this game, and we're gonna keep on making content for it. Like, it's really is too bad.
And by the way, shove a multiplayer element into this game, please. Thanks.
I think that like if they had taken the No Man's Sky route, which is, when we release, this is not good, let's just keep making it better. I think Mass Effect Andromeda could be a genuinely incredible game, like a straight 10 out of 10. The bones are there. It just needs patches. It needs DLC. It needs more content that just never existed.
Instead, they decided to do nothing for 10 years and then re-release the other games.
Yeah.
I mean, like, think about the, like, and this is a critique for so many AAA companies, which is like, we're just not going to release games forever. Like, it's just, we're just not going to release games. Like, Dean will graduate from high school before I see another mainline Fallout game. Like, and that's just that's just a fact. That's a fact that they've said. It's like, you will see another mainline. It's like, how are we going to go 20 years between Fallout games? What is wrong with 3. You?
They're remaking what? Fallout 3 now? Was that the one they're remaking?
They're not remaking anything. They released like Fallout 4 got some sort of like
anniversary edition or something like that.
Kind of, yeah. It wasn't even like really a remaster or anything. I think it was just some like Fallout 4 has a huge modding scene, and EA and BioWare, not EA and BioWare, but like Bethesda was like, man, why are we not making money off of this free labor these people are putting out there? We should have them put that content into the game, and then they can get paid and we can get paid for it. And so I guess they just like prettied up some of that stuff. And I guess it was all buggy and weird, and people are like, what even is this? And so, yeah, I haven't looked into it too hard, but I think basically it was like, hey, there's a new Fallout TV show coming out, so we need to have some sort of content to release with that. And I think that's all it was. It was nothing interesting. So
I have one last little article. So it's an article from the lead of the Mass Effect Andromeda developer and how badly they wanted to do a Mass Effect 2. Here's kind of their quote here. I only wish we would have been able to do a second one, because then you would have really seen that polish, just like we did from Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2 on the original trilogy. If you tried to put all the content of Mass Effect 3 on the Mass Effect 1 team, it would have taken us 10 years. Similarly, there were just a lot of things we had to relearn, refigure out with Andromeda, and ultimately when you do that, it's very, very challenging to come out and be as polished as your third iteration was. And we didn't hit that. We probably should have. In hindsight, just reduced scope more and executed on what we could to ensure quality. So, it's a bummer, because I think that very similarly to where Mass Effect 1 really had some struggles, but the massive difference between 1 and 2 is so huge that people kind of forget it. I think that would have been similar here if we had been given the opportunity.
Yeah, I imagine it's EA's fault. Like, I imagine that if it were BioWare or a standalone studio, they would have just came out the next game, but maybe not. Who knows with these places anymore?
Maybe.
Like, some of these, like, old-time CRPG, like, studios are just so... They're just, like... They're not even, like, shadows of what they were. They're, like... It's like
it's kind of
a tree that had the termites eat all the bones out of and the inside of, and as soon as you if you push against it a little bit, you just poke your hand right through it because it's just the bark. Like, yeah. Anyway, let's get into the actual game because it's a fun game.
Yay! Getting into the actual game. So, We begin. It has been 600 years since the events of Mass Effect. We left the Milky Way galaxy in between the events of Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3. We have traveled to the Andromeda galaxy and have been in cryosleep during that time. We are awoken as Ryder, someone on the Pathfinder team. We have traveled to the Andromeda galaxy in search of golden worlds that our deep scans from the Milky Way have highlighted. Our job? Explore these golden worlds and make sure they are safe for the rest of our population to land. We meet Cora, who's one of our first companions, a human who is an ex-Asari commando, who is on the Pathfinder team, as well as Liam, a human ex-soldier. Ryder's twin is in cryosleep and about to be woken up when our ship runs into something. And it's a little unclear at first, other than it's some sort of dark energy. And it causes the entire ship to have issues and not ideal. Our twin is safe, but has to be put into a coma, and they have to wake up naturally. We can check on them to make sure that they're okay, or if you're Matt, you can just say, you know what, it's not about murdering somebody, I'll keep moving forward. We then head into the hangar bay, as we are set to explore our first golden world, supposedly Habitat 7, a island paradise of sorts. We meet our dad, who is the Pathfinder, and he tells us to get ready, because we're about to go planetside. Basic idea here, we're not heroes, we're just here to make sure that our citizens get to planet safe. That's our main goal. What'd you guys think of like the opening sequence here?
I thought it was fun. I really wasn't sure what to expect. I had no idea what the story was. And so yeah, I thought it was really interesting. Yeah, I thought Golden Worlds was a weird way to put that, but I don't know how else you say it. Every time they said Golden Worlds, I was a little annoyed. I'm not really entirely sure why. I don't know how you say it better. I'm not, maybe the Goldilocks or something like that. I don't know, but like Golden World kind of annoyed me. But other than that, I thought it was fun. I thought, I don't really understand what any of our friends do on the team. They feel very disconnected from Ryder. I feel like you are much more connected to your companions in 1, 2, and 3 than you are in Andromeda. Like, for whatever reason, like you still have the ability to tell them where to go and stuff, but like honestly, they kind of just like bop around and do whatever they want, and I do whatever I want. And I, at least on the normal difficulty I'm playing at, like I don't need them. Like they do something. Yeah. They kind of are just kind of there to distract while I like dash around, I guess.
They have dialogue while things are happening. That's about it.
They have dialogue when you're in the Mako, it seems like, but no other time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Other than that, I really enjoyed the beginning. I thought the twin thing was a really clever idea to have, like to get to choose your gender was to have the twin. Mm-hmm. The twin has some fun things you can do with it as well. So, yeah.
I like the setup with the father where it's like, you're not, like you can kind of set it up where it's like, I don't really know my dad, kind of thing, or that's just the way he is. Sorry. And
I think that you bring up a pretty interesting point because for a reason that will be apparent here soon, the main group is all connected through your dad and not through you. So especially in the first chunk of the game, a lot of it is about making connections and understanding these people, and they don't immediately. In Mass Effect, you have people that already kind of know about you, that already trust you, but that's not the case here. You're kind of a fresh slate, and so I think that combat-wise, they never become as necessary as they do in the initial Mass Effect series. They're there to soak up damage, and that's most of it, which is kind of a bummer, but character-wise, they do get much more interesting later on.
It's funny. I'm sorry. So I was watching a Let's Play to remind myself what happened early on in the game because I played a number of hours. And the first person I played was playing like early release. I guess if you owned the Origins app or whatever, which used to be the EA thing, then you got like early release, like 2 days early release. And this person like never completed the list, but they made like just like got to the first place and then we're done with it. And they're like, oh, it's kind of boring that, you're just, it's just what a trope to be like, a normal person and this, that, and the other. And I was like, but it's the exact opposite of what Shepard was, because Shepard already was a hero. You start and Shepard is like the greatest hero of humanity, and then quite quickly becomes the hero of the galaxy. It's the exact opposite. They're telling a different story in this game than they told in the first one. And I felt like the criticism appeared to be by a lot of longtime players that, this is just another story of you being, nothing and becoming a hero. And it's like, but that's the if it been like if you had started and been the Pathfinder already, the same way, Shepard was Shepard already, that would have been much more tropey, I feel like, at least for Mass Effect. So I thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
And it was funny is that playthrough came out immediately and they were very critical of it. I found another one who was playing it just 4 years ago, and she was like, this game is incredible and awesome. I don't get why people don't like it. I honestly think this game, if you come back to it like now and you didn't like work part of like the whole like this game is so much better than it ever got credit for, it seems like. Because I don't think it's as good as 2 or 3, but it's way better than 1.
It is certainly more, like, mechanically, way more interesting mechanics than 1.
I think even, like, your friends are even more interesting than 1.
I think that's also probably true.
Yeah.
Because your friends in 1 are good, but mostly because of how they grow in the other games, not exclusively because of how they're presented in Mass Effect 1.
I mean, would the game been better if Corporal Jenkins died again right off the bat?
Great question.
There kind of is a Corporal Jenkins. Snyder. We get to Snyder.
Yeah.
Matt, do you want to tell us all about PlanetSide?
All right, so we head down PlanetSide. There's a bunch of floating rocks. I hate sci-fi floating rocks. That's just one of the tropes I absolutely hate. Sorry. Let's see, signs of civilization. Is it the hinterlands? It kind of looks hinterlandsy. We get struck by lightning and crash. We crack our helmet. We fix it with the Omni tool. This won't happen again, surely. So you and Liam are the other survivors of the crash, and kind of collect yourselves and start looking around. The game kind of does this little tutorial thing where it teaches how to move around and scan and jump and run, and kind of like everything you kind of need to do. It's like, hey, check if your weapon works, and you shoot off your pistol. After a while, we find Fisher, and he's been pinned down by 2 aliens. We're the aliens. We're not from this galaxy.
It's true.
Best not to think about it. And try not to be. And I walked in, hands up the entire time. Being as nonviolent as possible. Eventually, it breaks out into gun violence, and we take out those 2 aliens to save Fisher, and a bunch of new things to scan. Go ahead.
One thing that I want to highlight is that there is like a danger here with this story, especially with this opening of, we're just imperialists that are coming into their home and killing them. That is not the story that is told. These are bad guys. We don't know their motivation right now, but we will get to it later on. Do not feel bad about killing these guys, because they are straight up evil incarnate. Just because I think that that's the story that you have to tell when you're like, we're going to go to a new universe and kill a bunch of these things. They are just straight up bad guys. And I want to, in case your conscience is a little worried about it, don't be. We'll get to it. These guys are bad.
One thing I wish they had done, so there is a scene very early on this first planet on Habitat 7 where you run into the Ket. That's who these bad aliens are, the Ket. You run into them, and it's like, okay, now we need to be careful here. This is a first contact situation. We don't want to make sure we shoot first. And then you walk up to them, and then like it's very unclear if you shoot first or not. And this should have been a cutscene. You walk up to them.
I would agree with that.
You walk up to them. You're like, hey, we come in peace. And then they shoot at you, right? And like maybe they even like are able to speak English or whatever and because like they do, and they do very quickly in this game, but they speak their own language. They should have just like, it should have been very clear right away that there's history here and that they're shooting first. I thought that would have been much more interesting. Like, I spent the first like hour of this game being like, did I accidentally shoot first? Like, what happened here? Did I just Han Solo this? And I'm unsure if I did or not. And so I thought they should make this much more clear right from the jump that the Ket are the bad guys.
Yeah, because I didn't start shooting until they started shooting me, which was like, I guess the protocol. I tried to do the full first contact protocol that they talked about as you walk up. Like, they go over the first contact. It's like, don't shoot unless it's like absolutely certain they're going to shoot you.
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
kill
I
you.
thought
Like,
I
okay.
waited, but I was like, oh, maybe I didn't. I'm not sure. And like even later on, like you get like Liam will say, well, that one better. But that first contest situation went better than that one. And Liam goes, just a little. I'm like, no, Liam, it went great. It was much, much better. Maybe shut your pie hole and go sit on your couch, my dude.
All right. All right, so we have a bunch of new things to scan. We do a lot of scanning here. We wander around, find some more aliens to shoot, because now that's what we do. Explore some ruins, find some cool-looking alien buildings, investigate some of these alien buildings, find out a little bit more about what's going on the planet, how maybe these are buildings that are affecting the atmosphere and the air. Interesting. And we wander around some more, and what's that? Flares over? Hey, it's Cora on the radio. Kind of choppy. We kind of head towards the radio, and the rest of them we find the other shuttle. They seem to have landed safely, but are pinned down by a bunch of aliens. So we shoot a bunch of waves like the colonizers we are, and about to repair the shuttle. So once that's clear, we kind of settle in, clear out the shuttle. And we find out that your father has run ahead to investigate the big building. So we go follow him and meet up with him. He seems impressed that I actually looked around and discovered some buildings and kind of got an idea what's going on with the place. Everybody kind of mounts up, gets together. The Pathfinder has an idea. He uses something to destroy the three lightning rods, which fries all the bad guys. And then we head right in, go in and shoot up the place, trying to, clear it out. We go up to the stairs, and by the way, we find out that at this point, our father was in Old N7, which is the specialist group that Shepard was a part of, and that what's his name from Mass Effect 3 joined.
Anderson?
No.
Oh no, the
Freddie Prinze
Vermeer
Jr.
survivor.
Yeah, Freddie Prinze.
No.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Freddie Prinze
Who's
Jr.
Iron Bull.
No. Oh yeah. No. The guy, the Latin dude from the third game. What they're doing the pull-ups. You know what I'm talking about.
James Vega.
Vega.
Oh,
Yeah, Vega was
Diet
joining me on
Shepherd?
sevens at the end. Diet.
Yeah.
No, Diet Shepherd. Yeah, that's it. So then we go up to reach to the top. There's two flanks that we can send our two troops to go guard while we protect Dad while he's hacking the system. We open the door. He does a thing with his AI hand, and then all heck breaks loose. Things, basically, I think it's the atmosphere decompresses or something. It basically pushes it off the ledge, and oh no, what do you know? Our face breaks the glass of the helmet again. They must have got the cheap helmets before they left. Got a discount from somebody. Your dad. So what your dad does is then selfishly takes off his helmet, puts it on your head, grants you the Pathfinder authority, and gives you his AI chatbot and integrates it with your head.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. Here, son, have my AI chatbot. As I die from this atmosphere. This is fun. I really enjoyed this whole section of the game. It was really cool. I'm just going to say that right now.
It was fun and hectic, especially like running from, because you don't like clear out the cat. You kind of run from the cat to like the top of the planet to try to like get everything cleared out. And it's very much like you're not just like clearing enemies out, but you're kind of like running and moving. And it was really, I thought it was a really good, interesting set piece to start the game. I really liked it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan. I think that it goes at a pretty good clip. I think the first planet can be a little difficult to navigate, like, directionally, because there are some things where it'll be like, oh, didn't I just turn here? Okay, I was supposed to go here, but is this above me? Is this below me? Did somebody die here? So there are a couple of issues on that front. Matt?
The map is awful.
Map is pretty bad, especially before you get the Mako. Once you get the Mako, then maps don't matter because you are God. But until you get that, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, the map it's pretty it's hard to tell where you're going. There's no like north or anything on the compass. There's only like the objectives as well, and it's just like
I think there's north.
There's definitely a north.
There might be.
There's definitely a
Yeah.
north.
Is there a north?
Yeah,
Okay.
and there's definitely like, it's very easy to navigate because you just follow the orange dot.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Because they have they have it at the top, like it's a
Yeah.
shooter, right? They have,
Yes.
Like, all your
Yes.
like stuff is on the top.
I think the
right?
map
Okay.
is pretty good. You have very high like map expectations.
I
This one has
like a good
terrain
map,
and
okay?
it shows like
It does have
Actually,
terrain.
that is nice, and like
feel
you know,
I want to push
No,
back
it
on the
actually-
map not being good on that. I think the map is actually pretty good.
the map is all right. It's just like I was having trouble trying to figure it out at first. Like at first, I was having trouble with the map. But-
I do think they made an oopsie on this one a little bit, and you can go like east or west, and east is the way you're supposed to go. That's where you rescue the guy. That doesn't matter. That's where you that's the quest stuff. But like, if you're like somebody like me who's like, well, this is an RPG, so you go the opposite way first to get the fat loots, and then you turn around and go the way of the quest, you actually just loop around and do everything backwards, and then everyone dies, and you also like clear out stuff that you don't have to clear out because your dad will clear it out for you. So you actually just need to follow the quest lines. And so if that's what you're gonna do, then just do that. I feel I don't let me make the mistake of like using my cool jump powers to hop around stuff, because you can get that way. Maybe it's quick. I don't know what the decision there was for that. But like I had to go back to a previous save because I was like, I don't want that guy to die. He doesn't matter. I don't even know who he was actually right now. But at the time I was like, oh man, I did a goof up.
Did either of you guys find the lost ruins and explore those?
Yes, they were great. I love the Lost. They were fantastic.
On Habitat 7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was in like the right hand side there, right? That
Yeah.
where the
I
cat
think
were?
so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun little
Cool
mystery.
area.
You explore it, you turn it on, and you get to a door, and the door is like locked, and you check out a couple logs, and they're like, yep, they locked something away. We better not touch it. And in the first time in video game history that I'm aware of, the hero then goes, okay, and doesn't try to open it.
There's in the second ruins, there's also something where it's like, oh, we can't get in there right now. Best remember that. And remember that. Because that's a little hint for next week. Because you'll only get that once. So they're gonna remind you of it when things are a little hectic. So just so it's a hint from me to you, everybody.
Ooh, exciting. Dano, do you want to take us home?
Yeah, so Ryder gets knocked out cold. Her dad gives her the helmet, and then she wakes up in Sam node, which is where that's our AI chatbot bot friend, Sam. Sam stands for something. It's all caps. I'm not sure what it stands for. It's just Sam. So we wake up to Sam talking to just Ryder, nobody else. The subtitles are very clear about this. It's like Ryder privately or something like that, and saying, telling, hey, Ryder, just so you know, you were technically dead for 22 seconds. It's like, cool. Thanks for that. At this point, we learned that our dad had sacrificed himself for us, which was a big deal because he was the Pathfinder, capital P Pathfinder, so you know it's important. At this point, Lexi explains that Sam is now part of her, a way that is totally unclear. Lexi is the doctor. Basically, Ryder is kind of a clanker now, so Ryder has an AI living in her head. Yes, please, Storm Rage.
I really like the choice that we get at the very beginning of Alec, our dad, being pretty cold and distant to Ryder, generally speaking. Like, it's clear that they don't have a perfect relationship, and it's pretty strained. So that way, when he makes this sacrifice, it feels more meaningful. I think that was a good, solid story choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and throughout the game, you can like talk to people. Like, you're given the option of how to kind of talk about your dad. And it's kind of like, yeah, I didn't know him very well, or yeah, he was kind of that way and stuff. And it's like, I find that kind of fun and interesting. You can just be kind of a jerk about your dead dad if you want to be, which
You
I
sure
don't think
can.
is a bold decision, but it's something you can do if you want. Be like, yeah, I didn't know him very well. I think you knew him better, actually, person who was in charge of this and totally mean to me. This whole thing, that wasn't my fault, and I'm just doing my best. Thank you very much. So we are told
I mean, he
that,
is an accountant.
yeah, but not just him though. He's actually kind of nicest.
Yeah. It's the other lady.
Yeah, the head of like the lady in charge
Security,
of
right?
getting the population to where it is. We'll get to her later. But anyways,
yeah.
so we find out that Ryder is a clanker now, and that she is the new capital P Pathfinder. Now, Cora was supposed to be the new Pathfinder. Well, we don't know that. Cora was number 2. She was our dad's second in command, and what we would assume would be the next Pathfinder. But when push came to shove, Dad decided, nope, my daughter or son is going to be the new Pathfinder because nepotism is a heck of a drug.
Also, you were there, like you were blown away from like everybody else. There's just you two out there, right? Like so.
Yeah. So it's possible that if like Cora had been there with us, he could have made Cora the next Pathfinder and still saved our lives. So yes, it might not have been nepotism. It might have just been like, I don't want my daughter and or son to die. And the only way to do that is to also make them the Pathfinder. Hope they don't mess this up too bad. Peace. That's also could have been what happened. So at this point, we learn that our brother and or sister is still in a coma. Not much we can do about it right now. Which we kind of learn maybe we can do about it later. Smash cut to some evil aliens. So the evil alien, Ket, he has a bony halo on his head and a cape. So we know he is the evil alien in charge. He has some sort of recording of Papa Ryder, like putting his hand up against, like up in the sky to command the door to open. And so, like a child mimicking their adult figure, does the same thing, and when doesn't get the results, is very harumphy about it. It's quite funny.
It's such a cool, like, it's one of those moments where it's like, okay, well, if you saw somebody you had no connection to finally do the thing you've been trying to do, I guess it's the first thing you'd try just to make sure. But it is very funny.
I mean, I can't say you're wrong, but also, like, I don't know if I would do it with all, like, everybody watching. I feel like a little embarrassed, I'm just like...
I need to do something here. Can y'all, like, turn around or something? Just to be sure. Yeah.
All right. So at this point, we are still on the Ark. I forget what the Ark's name is. It doesn't
I think it's just the Ark.
really matter. There is a name for it.
No.
Hyperion. Ark Hyperion, right? I think that's right.
There we go.
Yes, that is correct.
Wow. That's a big win. All right. So we're still on Ark Hyperion, but we're getting close to the Nexus, which is the new Citadel. So we're getting close to the Nexus, and no one is answering our hails. So it's like, okay, well, we kind of need to dock, so we dock anyway and hope for the best. So Ryder, being a Pathfinder, goes in with the team, and all the lights are off, which is a little spooky. Yes, Storm Rage.
I did not explain this super well in my section, so I want to briefly explain it here. The general plan coming into this system was that there would be a team set up first to establish the Nexus, which is basically the new version of the Citadel, a hub within this galaxy that would be set up by everybody. Then the 4 arcs, which contain massive amounts of cryo, humans, Turians, so on and so forth, would then dock on this massive ship, the Nexus, and provide it with energy and supplies. And then once that had been established, then they would take that and then they would go to the Golden Worlds. So they would have this massive singular ship, the Nexus, supported by 4 arc ships. And then people basically consider it continually moving through the process to get onto the Golden Worlds.
Yes, very good. And there is a really cool shot that you get of the Nexus with the Arc docked with it, and you can imagine all the Arcs docking on it. And like, man, that's gonna be a really cool scene. Psych, we're never gonna see it because EA is full of cowards. Anyways, so we go on to the Nexus and we try to We walk in and all the lights are off, which is not great. And so we kind of start wandering around. And then we just kind of run into a random dude, like working on some paneling. And he's like, oh, whoa, who exactly are you? And you're like, I'm Ryder, Pathfinder. Nice to meet you. It's like, oh, nope, you can't be. I'm pretty sure you're all dead. And you're like, nope, definitely not dead. Nice to meet you. He goes, wow, we thought you were all dead.
You're saying morale is high on this station.
Yeah, I also love that they're like, didn't you get a notification? Yeah, so many things are broken. We just assumed it was another broken thing.
So enter Kandros. Kandros is one of the 4 leaders of the Nexus. Kandros tells us that they arrived 14 months ago, and then 12 months ago, just kind of assumed we were all dead. And I was like, wow, bud, you really did hold out hope for 2 whole months, huh? We traveled 600 years. Like, we did our best. But, no big deal, no big deal.
A couple months late, it's fine.
Like, I mean, I feel like that was like, there should be a little bit of like math rounding error in there. Like, you know, 5 or 6 rooms worth of wiggle room, but I don't know. I'm not the one that traveled to the Andromeda galaxy. So, totally our bad for running late, I guess. So, when the first wave of colonists show up to Nexus, so this is when they first came, this group, that's this Nexus group, they came up and they ran into the Scourge. That's that dark energy thingamajig that we ran into as well and put our brother into a coma. Well, they ran into it as well, and like a whole bunch of people also died. They lost a whole bunch of systems. It was bad news bears. So, when after that all happened, they kind of got themselves situated, and then because they were low on food and low on people, they had just like a little bit of like oopsie boopsie rebellion, and the people who rebelled were kicked off the station, and now are called the Exiles with a capital E, so we know it's important. Kandros takes us up to Ops, and we get to meet some people who hate us. First is Director Tan. He's a Solarian and who is in charge of the Initiative with a capital I, so we know it's important. The Initiative is actually what this whole thingamajig is called. It's a really dystopian name. Very sci-fi. Two thumbs up for that. I'm not sure what we're initiating. I guess we're initiating the travel from galaxy to galaxy.
Yeah, so I think that's what the thing is. Like, it's the Andromeda Initiative. It's the initiative to live in Andromeda.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah, it's
just like we want to live here now, and like that's it. We're gonna die, and we're gonna die trying. I think that's the initiative.
Yeah. No,
and also Director Tan sucks. He sucks so much. He's such a well-written, terrible character.
Yeah, I want you to imagine Marco Rubio in space. I mean, down to the like unnecessary publicity of your racism. Like, you need to be ashamed of that racism, my friend. Like, keep that down. You don't tell everyone about that racism. Like, that's not a quality you should be like. I met you 5 minutes ago and you're like, boy, those Krogan, huh? But they're awful. It's like, wow, dude. Like,
it's pretty crazy.
So Director Tan is in charge because the 8 people above him in the chain of command are dead. So that's how we get Director Tan. Next up is Director Addison. She is a human and she's in charge of colonial affairs. Director Addison really hates us because we're not our dad. Again, not our fault, just doing our best, but she just really does not like us. And at one point, like, instead of calling us Pathfinder, as is our title, she calls us by our last name. And she's like, no one is a Pathfinder until they've path-found something. I'm like, well, boy, someone spent way too much time on Twitter, Director Addison.
Yeah. I will say I'm absolutely a general apologist to this game. I think this game is great. But it does have a few lines that you're like, oh, that needed another pass, friend.
that needed another path on that one, my dude.
Hey.
No one is a Pathfinder until they've path-found something. That's not, no, I'm a Pathfinder, not a I'm finding the path. This is a present tense thing. Nope, you're just wrong. But she really doesn't like us though. And it's like out of nowhere. It's like, aren't you a bit young? It's like, I mean, yeah, I guess, but like, deal? What are you gonna do? Go ask for another one from the Milky Way? We're kind of stuck, friend. So maybe don't be a jerk.
The next one will be here in about 700 years.
Yeah, just go ahead.
You want to wait for him?
We'll just all sit here and wait. How about that? Next up is Superintendent Kesh. Kesh is the person in charge of the facilities, so just making sure everything is running smoothly. Kesh is kind of great. Kesh is a Krogan, and she doesn't care that we aren't our dad, which is nice. The first person who doesn't care that we're not our dad. She's just a kind person who is just doing the best she can to keep this whole ship running, which nobody else seems to be doing. Really is quite impressive, but she's great. Yes, go ahead.
As far as general characters go, there's just some hits and misses throughout this game. Kesh is 100% hit. Kesh is one of my favorite characters, and she just evolves in such cool ways. I'm so excited.
Yes, Matt.
One of my favorite things you can go into her dialogue options, and you can ask her straight up about like how the Solarian genophage. Ask straight up about the genophage. It's like, you know what they did was pretty bad. We're getting better by getting it out of it, but also like we're in the Andromeda galaxy now, so let's kind of let's start over here and not bring over the same crap we had in the Milky Way, which is kind of awesome.
Yep.
So
it was kind of a interesting yet scientifically dubious way they kind of got around the genophage issue. Which they obviously, because the genophage was solved in Mass Effect 3, which is before we left. And so the genophage, so the Krogan that are in the Andromeda galaxy still suffer from the genophage. And so Kesh tells us that the clan of Krogan that left the Milky Way for Andromeda actually were showing signs of having a natural defense to the genophage. And they use that 600 years to continue to develop that somehow, which cool. I like scientific magic hand waving as much as this guy, so I like it. I thought it was a clever way to kind of keep the Krogan from, outbreeding everyone. Like I will assume happens in the Milky Way. Good thing we live in a plant robot person hybrid utopia, because otherwise I thought the Krogan are going to be kind of a bit of a problem, just from a being able to feed everybody situation. But that's kind of, I thought it was a clever way of Andromeda and having that still be an issue, but less so of one. I thought that was clever. And then again, the last of the big four is Kandros. We met Kandros earlier. I would say probably kind of the most forgettable of the big four. Kandros is in charge of security. He is a Turian. He also doesn't hate us. But he also doesn't really seem to like us, which is fine. I'm okay with that. You don't have to like or hate me. I just met you.
Yeah.
He is in charge of the Nexus militia. So that is our big four. You might call them our advisors if you wanted to. Anyways, so it turns out that none of the golden worlds were actually golden. All of them ungolden, very not golden, just worlds. All totally terrible, and we can't wake up any of our colonists because there's no way to feed them. The station is also empty because there was that fight we talked about. All the losers left as exiles. There was also some drama with the Krogan being lied to because Tan is super racist for the Krogan and not even a bit shy about it. So the Krogan have also left, which, for reasons why. We asked Kesh about this. She's like, well, someone needed to stay behind and make sure that the people of the initiative, didn't die. So that's why I'm here. And I feel like I can do the most for my people by also being here, by being keeping some sort of Krogan influence on the station, which I really think is, I would like and clever. So after our meetings with the leaders of this cursed expedition, we head over to our very own ship, the Tempest, not the Normandy, though it is very similar to the Normandy. It's what if the Normandy were the Tempest? Very cool ship. So on our way there, we meet our new friend, Vetra. She's a Turian, somewhat of a fixer, a lady who gets stuff done. She invites herself onto our crew, and we're like, cool, welcome aboard, I guess. Our ship is pretty sweet, and unlike that loser Shepherd, our ship doesn't have live wires and plastic sheeting all over the place. So take that, Shepard. Yes, Matt.
I also love that the ship actually makes sense layout wise.
Yeah.
Like the ship that like it actually like it like fits in the shell and actually makes sense. Like there's like your room in the back, which is huge. It has like bunks and a med bay right next to the bunks. Got this big engineering section and this long way up to the bridge, and it's fantastic. I love it.
I also like that as someone who was in the Navy, it makes sense for a crew versus captain berthing situation where the captain has a quarters as large as the rest of the crew put together, which I enjoyed immensely. Yep. Also, did you notice that there is a message board for the crew that you can go and check?
Yes.
On
That's great.
It's a lot of fun. So Vetra gives us a tour of our ship. We get to meet Gil, our mechanic, Suvi, our science officer, and Callow, our pilot. Callow isn't Joker, so he sucks.
He's
nice
not
guy,
as good as Joker.
Really interesting. He's not Joker. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
No.
He's not Joker. So
couldn't they like hand wave like oh this is Riddler. He's like cousin to this guy named Joker back in the Milky Way.
What if they could have why not just have cloned his mind and had him be like a VI? So we could have had Joker the VI as the
that would have been fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. Somebody get Seth Meyers back or Seth
Green.
Seth Green
back into
Joker is so good. I love Joker.
That's why everybody hated this game.
Actually, Callow's kind of great too. Callow is a Solarian and not a racist, which, good for him. So we have everything we need in our ship. A biolab, a medbay, and a research room where we can research things, is what Vetra tells us. This is our research room. This is where you can research things. Thanks, Vetra. I got that. Context clues and all. There's also a fancy conference room where our friends can tell us they think we're doing a bad job. Thanks, friends. The ship is nice, but the station has a serious case of sci-fi monotony. Everything is shades of silver with a mirror finish and sharp angles. It really, really is dull. It's very dull. The station's very, very dull. The ship is that as well, but has kind of fun things in it and seems much more alive, which I understand why the Nexus doesn't feel alive because no one's woken up yet. But even you could have done more with why is everything spotless and shiny if there's nobody to be cleaning, right? And so there's really interesting things. I feel like there could have been ways to kind of the same way with Skyhold, where we kind of walk into Skyhold and it's a mess and it kind of improves over time. I feel like you could have something similar with a Nexus, right? Where you kind of walk in, it's a bit of a mess. They're doing their best. But as we wake up colonists, as we use our Alien versus Predator points, we get to kind of improve. Thank you, Storm Rage. Sorry, AVP is Alien versus Predator. I'm sorry, you cannot reuse AVP in a video game. It's already taken by Alien versus Predator. You can't make AVP something else. I'm sorry, you can't. It's just Alien versus Predator points. That's their fault, not mine. So I felt they could have done more with a Nexus, but it's fine for what it is. It's a bunch of traveling via train everywhere. There's a bar that was supposed to be a chemist lab, and the main chemist is now a bartender, and he doesn't want to be a bartender, and it's really fun. If you haven't been there yet, I definitely encourage you to go there. He's a hoot. All right, should we explain some mechanics here?
Yeah.
Good, I'm going to pay attention to this and be quiet.
Let's get us going on abilities / profiles here, Storm Rage.
Abilities and profiles work very differently than they did in Mass Effect 1. Some of the abilities will be very, very similar. For instance, there's still charge, there's pull, there's push, there's warp. Basically, all of the abilities from the original Mass Effect series are here. But you do not have a class anymore. Instead, you can select a profile. And the profile will give you passive bonuses to various aspects. For instance, the Vanguard gives you like a bonus to your shields and an increase to biotic damage. Soldier profile gives you an increase to weapon damage, decreased cooldowns on some things, increased ammo, a couple of things of that nature. Dano?
I feel like this was a really weird choice in the idea of the game universe, where biotics are a very real thing and a very contentious thing, and a thing that you just don't get to become. Like, you're not just like all of a sudden a biotic one day. Like, you have like implants put into you and training, and so like with like the two other, so there's 3 trees. There's like the soldier tree, the tech tree, and the biotic tree. The other 2 I get, right? Because you can kind of like, you're just kind of like training up different things or use technology. I feel like with biotics, it doesn't make a lot of sense because within the universe, like I understand why they did it game-wise, but within the universe of the game, I feel like it's a very real, like biotics are just a thing you're born with or you're not. And so I do wish they had given us classes and just let us kind of like, I understand why they didn't, but I feel like it's immersion breaking that I've already spent like 3,000 credits, like respecking into different things already. And it's fine, but like it also discourages like alternate playthroughs as well, because you know, if I want to have a biotic playthrough versus an engineer playthrough, that's also kind of fun. I get to experience the game in different ways. So yeah. Sorry, go ahead. My mind.
So the explanation that we are given in universe for this is that our AI, Sam, is so fully integrated into our physiology that they can load out various profiles, and as our body improves, they can basically give us these skills one way or another. So if we load into a biotic profile, Sam then gives us that ability to use biotics. And you can unlock various profiles by spending points within the talent trees that Dano just mentioned of biotics, tech, and weapons. That's not the right one.
Soldier. I think it's actually just soldier, isn't it?
That's the profile. I don't think that's the pool title. But what I really like about it is the thing that Dano explicitly doesn't. That you can respec at any time, and it only costs you 20 credits the first time, and then 500 every time after that. It's unlocked basically immediately. What is it, Dano? Combat. Thank you.
Yep.
And so if you want to be a soldier that also has charge, you can do that. If you want to be an engineer that has cloak and sniper abilities and can also freeze people when they get too close, you can do that. There's like 20 different abilities in each tree, so there's like 60 different combinations or 60 different things in total, and then you can have a bunch of different combinations between those. You generally have like 3 active powers, so you don't have a ton that you're dealing with at any one given time, at least not on controller. I don't know if that's different for mouse and key or not, but there's so many different possibilities. There's so many different fun things. The other major changes to the core gameplay loop are that you get modifications, so you can pick up like a shield booster, an ammo booster, and while there's not nearly as much pausing to use abilities in this game, everything's pretty freeform, immediate, and like you use the ability in a more action-heavy style rather than a tactical style. You can still pause to add in modifications for like incendiary rounds to shield overloads. So you can do some of those things. And then you also have a boost and a jump pack, which changes to a biotic boost and jump pack. But I love the boost and the jump pack. Your movement is so fun. It goes all over the place. My favorite thing to do is that when you jump in the air and you aim, you'll hover in the air for about 3-4 seconds. And it feels so cool to hover with a sniper and then just pop someone from across the entire battlefield. It's extremely good.
That is fun. That sounds super fun, actually.
Yeah,
and you can try it all because you can respec at any time and it's pretty easy.
I already got the achievement where I have 3 different profiles activated. Only 25% of the people have got that achievement because I've already respect. I think I've respect 4 times. The most recent one I respect and then went right back to what I already was. So save before you respect because you might just stick with what you were. I don't know what I want to do. I'll talk about that when I get to T. But yeah, Matt.
I found a Reddit link of like just links to like just a builds list for Andromeda. I'm going to post it in our Discord because there's a lot of cool stuff in there.
Yeah. Yeah. So another thing that we do in this game that we've done in previous Mass Effects is gathering resources. It is done differently in this game than other ones. So there are 3 ways to gather resources. And this would be anything. This could be like, these resources can be stuff that you mine. It could be different like satellites that you can turn on or off. It's a whole bunch of different things, but you're basically gathering stuff. So Vetra, our bridge officer, she will say, the first one, Vetra says, anomaly detected. When you enter a system, hit the scan button and then follow the area. So that's when you first enter a system. Before you go to any planets, she'll be like, anomaly detected. And you're like, cool, left trigger, follow the area to the thing, hit the A button, and collect the stuff. Number 2 is when you get to a planet, and Vetra says, anomaly on sensors, or something similar like that. Then you hit the scan button again, and you follow the arrow. This was the thing that I did not get and confused the snot out of me at first. Sometimes there's nothing there. You will hit the button to scan, and there will be red lights on the corners that will light up. Those are just red lights. They don't mean anything. They're just random. They randomly light up. You don't follow those anywhere. You don't do anything with it. It's just a random red sensor light. So I was like, am I supposed to be following those lights? There's nothing here. Unless Vetra says something and there's an arrow, there's nothing on that planet. So that's one thing that took me probably too long to figure out. And then the third is how we actually can mine resources the old way. Remember you had like the 4 bands of stuff in Mass Effect 2, I believe it was, and maybe even Mass Effect 3 a little bit, where you would like go and you'd want, as soon as it peaks and you mine. Well, instead of doing that in space and kind of like just gridding over the entire planet, you now will have different mining zones available on planet. And you hit the mining button and then it will be like, it'll see resource rich or resource fair or resource poor. And as you're driving around with your mining window open, you will see those kind of bars go up and down. You're gonna want to kind of like wait until it really, really peaks. Don't like do a middling one. There's no reason to. You're only getting like 20 or whatever it is. So keep it open while you're driving around. None of what you're mining is going to be life changing. Like even like the highest peaks, we're talking like, 80 to 100 of that resource. So it's definitely not worth stressing, but like you just kind of like drive around a little bit. I'd say it's probably more difficult than the own one because you're driving around and there's stuff in the way, but it's fine. When you get the spike on the minerals you want, do not hit extract. You think, extract the minerals. Nope. Extract means that the ship comes to take the Mako 2 back to the Not Normandy. So instead, what you want to do is summon the mining probe. So summon mining probe. That will bring down a thing. You have unlimited of them, I'm pretty sure. So bring it down, and it will mine everything in that area. And that's how you do the resource gathering. When you first kind of enter the game, it seems super confusing, and then once you kind of get used to it, it's actually really simple. So, next thing is research and development, something else that is much more confusing than it needs to be. So there are 2 steps to research and development. This is crafting. Step 1, find or buy a blueprint. Step 2, craft the thing based on the blueprint. Seem easy? Wrong. It's not easy at all. So you need to research the blueprint before you can craft it. So just because you have it doesn't mean you can use it. You have to research it first. Researching something takes research points. There are 3 different kinds of research points. There's Milky Way research points, Andromeda research points, and mystery research points. That one will come to in a couple episodes. You research things by scanning them out in the world. So you have like a little scanning button, like you had your radar button in Dragon Age Inquisition. Pretty much the same thing in Mass Effect. You'll have your scanner open, something will be red, and then you scan that, and then you're going to get a certain number of each of those points. So now that you've scanned enough things to research the blueprint, it's time to development. Sounds easy enough? Wrong again. So you have to have the correct minerals to craft them. From what I've seen, usually around 4 different minerals. Did you research something cool that you want to use but don't have the minerals? Too bad. You suck and you don't deserve to craft that thing. And I hope you are happy with your wasted research points, loser. Next up is strike team missions. So strike team missions are totally optional. So these are missions where you can send space station special forces to go do certain things. You can tag along and do multiplayer if you want to, but this is totally not required whatsoever. You can just send a strike team in your stead. This is a completely free way to gain resources, weapons, and credits. So, like, whenever you're on your ship or whenever you're on the station, just stop by the strike team mission console and then select one. There'll be different difficulties. It will give you a percentage chance of it being successful or not. So it'll be like 80%, 50%, 40%, and then it will tell you what you get, and then you go back to the strike team mission console to collect your stuff. I've gotten cool sniper rifles. I've gotten a good chunk of credits. It's just a free way to get stuff. Totally not required. Nothing to do with the story whatsoever. It's just a free way to get stuff. So, Matt?
So research and development. Can I just skip all that and not pay attention to it? And
Yeah, you can
make
just
it
buy
through the
weapons
game
and
just
stuff.
fine?
Yeah.
All right, good to know.
Lastly is the dialogue wheel, as well as romance options, which I want Dano to be aware of, so that way Dano doesn't accidentally do a romance. The Paragon Renegade wheel has been replaced with instead a 4-choice dialogue wheel. There's no correct answer for many of these. Instead, there is logical, emotional, casual, professional. There are no points in the same way that there used to be for Paragon and Renegade, but similarly to Dragon Age 2, your choices will generally impact your character's personality and how they respond to things when you don't control what they say. In order to romance, you will be given an option of a very large heart. It's a big single heart, and that will either develop a romance, or if the character is not interested based on writer's gender, then instead it will deepen that friendship. If you're wondering which characters are available to me, I'd recommend just Googling it, because there's a handful of characters that are not available to either writer, and then there's a handful of characters that are available to both writers.
And so to get closer friendships, you have to do the romance thing, but not romance them?
It is an option available if they would not be interested in you romantically. Yes.
So first you have to do the flirt option, and then you'll find out that they're not interested, and then they become friendlier?
Yes. Yes.
It's like I've already
So flirt with
chosen who I'm going to
everyone. Got
romance. So I'm not going to romance anybody else.
Who are you going to romance?
The bridge officer lady.
Suvi?
Yeah, Tuvi. She was the first one I chatted with. I'm like, okay, you win. Plus, she's kind of interesting. So
She is.
yeah. Yeah. One thing about the dialogue wheel option, your teammates will give you grief based on how you answer certain things. So during team meetings, if you give a casual answer on something, there'll be someone who doesn't like a casual leader will kind of give you grief. And then if you give the professional one, somebody who likes more casual stuff will be like, well, I didn't get that memo. And so it's kind of fun. You get kind of talk back from your friends depending on how you say certain things, which I find kind of interesting and fun. So.
Hello, old friend. Let's meet for tea after the match, shall we?
Slurp, slurp, slurp.
Hey there, Matt. What'd you do this week?
Yep. I'm playing an engineer for Ryder for now. I picked the white male shepherd. Ryder. Sorry. I'm kind of running with pistols right now, but I'm kind of explore builds once the game opens up a little bit. Did some stuff on the Not Citadel. Found a hacker, started investigating a murder, talked to everyone, told some scientists I'd find their stuff and their people. Found us, and then eventually unlocked some of Dad's memories and found some audio with Liara, pre-Mass Effect 1 Liara?
Yes, it is pre-Mass Effect 1 Liara. Yep.
So, yeah, it was pretty kind of cool. Storm Rage, what'd you do?
I found the hacker, shut him down, and I sent them off-world when they were like, wait, you're not going to just kill me? And I was like, no, that's not my job. That seems insane. I started investigating the first murder, just like you, and I explored some alien ruins. Currently, I'm running a Vanguard tech build, so I charge in, and then I use Cryo Beam, and then which freezes them and primes them for detonation, and then I use a Lance ability to detonate that ability, and it deals a good amount of damage in a small area. I'm running a shotgun, but I think I'm going to change it up here soon to more of a sniper, stealthy build from a distance, just because I want to give it a shot. Dano?
Cool. So I am on my 4th build currently. So I started off with kind of like a soldier, like sniper. So like I did like the combat sniper where I had like a barricade and then snipe from a distance, which I enjoyed. And then I went to it's a jack of all trades one where if you have points in all 3 different trees, you can do this. I forget what's called Explorer. I think it's called Explorer. And so I did that for a little bit, and it was with a shotgun, and it was involved like kind of like hopping into combat and moving around. That really wasn't quite my thing quite as much. So I went back to a sniper build, but this time a tech sniper where you, I think it was a tech sniper where you use like the tech tree to become invisible and kind of hop around the battlefield that way, which I didn't enjoy quite as much. And then now I'm currently an engineer. So I have a fireball and a lightning bolt. So the firebolt both primes and detonates, and then the lightning bolt steals shield and primes. So I'm basically able to do my own combo stuff that way, which is pretty cool. And then I also have got myself a turret that I can set up and have it choose to attack people. And the turret seems to be not super impressive yet. And from what I kind of read, the turret's kind of bad, but it's kind of fun too. And so I might roll with it. And I think this is a super secret second turret you can use that's better than the first turret, and so I might decide to do that. I might switch over. I'm doing an assault rifle and pistol build right now because I'm trying to stay as light as possible because I'm using my tech abilities, and just like with other Mass Effects, you know, the heavier stuff you use, the fewer abilities you can use to kind of balance stuff out. So like if you like a sniper rifle does a ton of damage, but it also is super heavy, so you can't use your abilities as much. And so I'm running as light as possible so I can use my abilities as often as possible. So I can throw my fireball to both prime and detonate, and I can throw my lightning bolt to prime and steal shields. And then I could put my turret out there and choose who attacks. And there's a point on the turret as well where it will prime as well. So the turret will actually prime, and then I can detonate. So it's all about kind of like running tech and stuff. And then in between, I'm running around with an assault rifle. And I have a scope on the assault rifle because I'm an old man. I'm bad at shooters. And so the scope makes it so I'm a little bit better at it.
Yeah. The scope is really nice. I do like the fact they brought back the weapon mods from the first 3 games, right?
Yeah.
So you can have some of that personalization as well. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, yeah. And so I've been a busy boy with questing. So I did quite a few here. So I also did the station sabotage where I found the hacker and got 73 Alien versus Predators for that. I think I set him off as well because I'm not like a Red Rummer. And then I also, speaking of Red Rum, the first murderer quest where a Torin's wife doesn't believe that he murdered a guy. And so I'm like, I'll help out with that. I got nothing better to do with my time. And so I find out that, he didn't do the murder. He tried to. He's just bad at it. And because apparently there's no attempted murder in space, I had to either like kill him or set him free. So I'm like, I guess you're going to go free, my guy. So lucky you. I did the quest Something Personnel. So there was Chief Engineer Leto. She had put herself in cryo after a bunch of people died on Eos, and she and a couple of us had to run away. And she was like, there's no purpose for me to be awake right now. Someone put me back in cryo. And I was like, okay. And then after she was back, I'm like, hey, you should be awake because you're a good person. So I woke her up. Did the quest Monkeys in Space. Someone wrote me an email asking me to pick up a space monkey and bring it onto my ship. So I did. A guy wanted me to put his brother's pendant on a rock on Eos. So I did. I did this same thing in Dragon Inquisition for an old guy, but it was flowers for his wife. Never changed, BioWare.
Hey, we got this whole like group of quests. We just need to make it spacey. Can I do that? Yeah.
It's like, all right, Cool. I can go put a thing on a thing. Whatever.
Yeah. Go explore this region for me, please. Thank you.
So a family on Eos is sad that their son/brother is still in cryo and asked me to wake him up early because they didn't want him to wait. And the game was like, morale is important. So I'm like, cool, wake him up. And then when you do that, he's like, hey, I have a cool idea. And you're like, oh, what is it? And it was actually a cool idea. So you get a secondary quest from that. I did a quest where I found some missing scientists. They were, so a science vessel was lost in space. But this time, Will Robinson did not make it. So that was very sad for them. And then on the station, they had a guy had a problem with like random things short circuiting, and he couldn't be bothered to fix it himself. So I did it for him, and it turned out there was a bug eating wires, and I could choose to capture it or capture it to study it or to kill it. So I captured it, and the wiki says it doesn't matter. And then I did the secret project quest. This one was pretty fun. So while poking around the first failed site on Eos, you discover a secret project they were working on. You can run around Eos there in that first round and find the failed site 2 and some Ket, and then finish the project, which was fun. This increases Eos's viability by 2% and gave me 29 Alien versus Predators. So yeah, that's what I've done. I've also like halfway done on like 1,000 other quests, and yeah, it was fun. They were super low key quests, but you know, I don't dislike them either. It was fun side questing. So,
Taste my grilled cheese.
yeah, what's our first good map?
Munch.
Oh, well,
The first good is the opening planet. It's just really, it looks really good. It looks kind of amazing. You know, I can't wait to land on Eos and see how they improve on that.
Yeah, I know you love Desert World, so you should be very excited. I've got the not so good, and they really like a Mass Effect 1 the dialogue trees in this one. There's some good old fashioned BioWare dialogue tree info dumping at the beginning of this game. Where it's like we have 6 spaces for you to ask questions, so you're gonna ask them all. There's even a part of the spaceship where you can the station where you can go in and pretend that you're an alien from Andromeda, and it will tell you about humans and Krogans and Taurians, and it's like I'm gonna do it all. What's our best good Storm Rage?
I just love the flexibility of being able to play whatever way that you want in whatever manner you want. If you've always wanted to play charge and you also want bullet time, if you've always wanted a stealth shotgun build, if you want to play a tech from very, very far away and never engage, you can kind of fit whatever to however you want. And respecking is so easy. It's great. I like that we've understood that giving players more flexibility and more options in general is better than trying to hide it behind a random potion that you get 40 hours into the game and you can do it once. So this is good. This is good, and I like it a lot.
Yeah. 520 credits is way better than having to wait 40 hours.
He asks each traveler 5 questions. 3 questions. 3 questions.
3, that's a magic number. I will ask myself 3 questions.
Hey there, Matt. What are you liking so far?
Scanning. I like scanning a lot. I don't know why I enjoy scanning so much. I'm just really enjoy scanning in this game. Like, I always have the scanner open. Like, down button on the D-pad is like the button I hit the most in this game. I love it. Storm Rage, how about you?
I love combat. Man, I love combat in this game. It's so fast-paced. It feels like every moment there is danger and there is need to go, and it's just so well designed. I love this combat a lot. Dano, what are you liking so far?
I'm liking the game, actually. I'm liking the game so far, quite a bit. The combat is fun. It's not my cup of tea, but I'm enjoying it. The characters are engaging and the story is interesting. Honestly, like, I have complaints because it's a video game, but all in all, not like major ones. I enjoy this game, and I cannot wait for the next installment to see what happens in Andromeda. Oh, wait. Never mind. It's very frustrating. What are you struggling with, Matt?
Are we the baddies? You know, we kind of invade this galaxy and like shoot the first aliens we see after invading the planet. Kind of feels like we're the baddies. I understand that they're like evil space Nazis, but like, could we be like when they're wrong here? I'm just curious, honestly. Storm Rage, how about you?
An important question to ask, Matt. The answer is no.
Okay, good.
And I think here's one of the issues. We won't know that next week. We will know it 2 weeks from now. I think the week that you will not be here is the week we will learn about it.
Okay, good. So I'll just pretend like the evil space Nazis aren't actual evil space Nazis.
No, he'll be here. We'll learn about it the week after next, right?
I will not be the week of Thanksgiving. I will not be here.
I'll have to go and look. I'm not sure. You might be right, Storm Rage. I don't remember exactly what we have for timeline-wise, so.
Either way, it doesn't really matter. We'll figure it out eventually. What am I struggling with? There are some dialogue moments that just land so flat. Like what Dano mentioned earlier of you're not a Pathfinder until you've path found. And there are a couple others where Ryder will be talking to somebody and it'll be really good natural dialogue, and then it'll be like, and I, the Pathfinder, will find things. And it's like, well, what's happening?
And meanwhile, his neck is stretching and his head's turning right.
That must be a console issue because I haven't had that issue at all in the game. The only bug I've had so far, we'll talk about next week. But yeah,
Dano, what are you struggling with?
Everyone seems very surprised that colonizing a new galaxy is hard. Like
that's true.
Like they seem like to the point of like being offended. Like they're just like, ugh. We traveled 600 years. It should be easy. Like, I don't know why you thought that. Like, to the point where, like, the human of, like, the big four is like, your dad told us lies. I'm like, no, it sounds like you're just a gullible idiot. Like, I mean, I feel like this is a you problem and not my dad's fault.
Right? It's like...
Hey, Matt, what surprised you about the game?
How much I really enjoyed and like kind of like felt right at home in the Mass Effect universe when the game started. Like it felt like, you know, like, oh, this is just Mass Effect. I remember Mass Effect. Mass Effect's great. I love Mass Effect. And it kind of really honors like that original trilogy in a way, but it's like it's very different. But I like it still feels very grounded in that Mass Effect world from the original trilogy, and I enjoyed that tremendously. Storm Rage, what surprised you?
When I had first played this, I was still expecting it to be Mass Effect 4. I knew that it wasn't, but I always felt that that would be the overall plot arc. And now that I've put even more time between myself and finishing off the Mass Effect series, like and being able to come into Andromeda on its own terms and with my expectations more clearly aligned with what it's going to give me, I'm enjoying it so much more. Like, this game is just, it's nice to boot up. You play for 30 minutes to an hour. You explore some ruins. You kill some cat. You hear your companions talk about something a little silly, and then you're good. And it's, now that my expectations are more clearly aligned and better aligned, I enjoy it a lot more. Dano?
Okay,
what about
so
you?
This is nothing about what's surprised, but I just have to say it. If Dragon Age Veilguard is this good, I'm going to be super duper annoyed. Like, just incredibly annoyed. Like, at some point, you have to stand behind your work. You cannot be a cop. Like, I'm sorry. Like, is this a game of the year? No. Is this a good video game? Yes. Like, I'm sorry. Like, very frustrating. Anyway, so what surprised me about this game? This game is Dragon Age Inquisition in space. So we have a council that we talk to. We have perks that we unlock based on completed missions. We have our radar system that helps us find stuff. We have a giant first section of the game that is gated off by high-level stuff that they want us to come back to later. And that's just the beginning. This game is just Dragon Age Inquisition in space. It's amazing.
There's some similarities for sure.
So is EOS the hinterlands? Is that what
EOS is 100% the hinterlands, at least from what I've seen so far. It is.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. EOS is, I think, the worst of the full planets that we get to explore by a pretty significant margin. I think that the advice of the hinterlands of get in there, do the thing, bounce out, and maybe come back to it later is probably also the correct advice for here.
Guess what I'm doing right now, everybody? I'm doing the opposite of that. I am neck deep in EOS right now. So much EOS. I went and I had to go and do like the thing from 2 weeks from now in order to go back because the radiation levels were too high. But now that the radiation levels aren't, I'm back and there's so much EOS. I'm putting down McMuffins. I'm finding McMuffins. I love it.
You want to buy some death sticks?
You don't want to sell me death sticks.
I don't want to sell you death sticks.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
I want to go home and rethink my life.
Hey, Storm Rage, sell the game to a friend.
Explore a planet and know that it isn't a perfect game, but it is a fun game.
Matt, sell the game to a friend.
What do you mean this planet is different 600 years later than we saw it from a galaxy away? Yay, colonization!
And Dano, sell the game to a friend. It's side questing in space. Next week, we're not getting bogged down on EOS. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for listening, and thanks to all our patrons and our Twitch subs. Twitch, what's the word I'm blanking on?
Subscribers is correct.
Okay, good. Twitch subs for patronizing us. You can find links to the Discord. Don't ask me why I forgot that. You can find links to the Discord and content information in our link tree description of this episode.
Hold on, gotta scroll down. I was updating the title. Mass Effect Andromeda is a game, and games are supposed to be fun. I had to remember the time of the game I had to talk about. That's awful.
Yeah. Don't remember, you're not a pathfinder until you've path found, baby.
This is the end of the show. Everybody bye!
You have a thing, Matt?
All right. I have a question for Storm Rage, and maybe it's just explained later. How do we jump to like FTL travel type situation in the Andromeda Galaxy when there's no mass relays around? Because the whole thing with the Mass Effect was like we found these mass relays and they allow us to jump between systems faster than light.
So
they're not here.
Correct. Instead, we are using raw element 0 and blah 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 blah. It magically lets you go faster than light, but you have to use such a obscene amount of it, which is why the initiative costs so much money that it isn't realistic or useful to travel within the Milky Way system, which is why nobody ever did it. There's just no reason to, but it is hypothetically possible within the universe to use this technology in that way. We just haven't yet.
Gotcha. Okay, I will accept that because, like, you know, like whatever unobtainium engines we need to use, we'll just use it, right? That works.
Yeah,
for me.
they basically, so the element 0 in the drive cores create their own little mini Mass Effect fields, and then they just use that as the energy points.
That works for me. That's fine. I was just curious because we all of a sudden we left Habitat 7 and then we're like warping quite literally to the Nexus, and it's just like, wait, how did that happen? How does that work? Like, how does why are we going faster than light? There's no Mass Effect relays anyway. Now that I understand, now that works for me. That works for me tremendously. Thank you.
Hey, we did it. Also, I did have to Google it.
I just assumed we weren't traveling as far. I just assumed we were traveling within a more finite section of space. That was my assumption.
Well, that's because we're in this arm of the Andromeda Galaxy.
Yeah.
We're not even in the Andromeda Galaxy proper, right? We're just
that's
kind of
a much cleaner.
Edges.
Like, instead of using raw EZO, just to say we're just not moving as far amongst the galaxy, because we traveled around the whole Milky Way. But if we just start saying within there's only 6 worlds that are habitable in the area, right? Then we are within a much smaller zone of the Andromeda Galaxy.
Yeah, but
but also
if you're traveling, But even if you are traveling at the speed of light with like all these systems, there's like, it's like 5 to 10 years to get between each of them, right?
No, that's fair. Maybe that's why the Ezo situation works, is because we aren't going nearly as far as we do with the Mass Effect relays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that works for me. I mean, I was just trying to figure it out because it's not explained at all.
It
might be
not
explained. I just might have
explained
missed
at all.
I think that there's a conversation you can have with your engineer at one point that talks about it, but if it does, it's not something that I remember explicitly being explained.
Nice.
I have no problem with magic space travel systems. I just like to understand, make sure that the magic makes sense. You know what I mean?
Well, especially because the Mass Effect relays were the thing in the Milky Way. So like getting to Andromeda and like not needing them anymore when there wasn't Reaper technology, which is what created the Mass Effect relays in the first place. Is pretty great. But we're not magical utopian robot plants, so we're just not as good as
we left that world behind, thank goodness.
All right, that's it. Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll talk at you again next week.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.